Okay, I decided tonight to show you some skate history, some skate culture, and the impact it has on skate park design. Now, if you didn't already know this, there are a lot of skateboarders in Austin. Mabel Davis Park gets somewhere around 90,000 uses a year, which falls just behind Barton Springs in terms of use. Now, the reason the popularity is important to me is I have this theory that a healthy culture requires a healthy counterculture. Now, music isn't doing it, so this whole realization of this is really to keep Austin weird ethos. Well, I submit to you this guy's not actually doing much to keep Austin weird. These guys, these skaters who decided June 6, 2006 was a holiday of keeping Austin weird. And the modern skate park is where they gather, especially if it's designed to attract the different factions and the different types and ages of skateboarders. But to know about those differences, we have to look back to history. The oldest skateboard I own is from the mid-60s, and it belonged to my mom. Now, skateboarding started as a big fad, and the very first thing that I bought was a plastic version of this board, and I did not know at the time that I was buying into a movement. I thought I was just spending my allowance. Now, for the layperson, the modern creation story is dog-counted Z-boys barging into swimming pools. But at the same time here in Texas, we had the same thing going on, and people like the late Jeff Phillips here, they actually skated at a time when it was a contest between contest promoters and pool barging punks, right? Instead, they wanted a lifestyle. Now, the impact on skate park design will live on to this day, especially since in Austin, at every input meeting, we have a bunch of crusty old guys saying, build another bowl. The bowl is just fantasy pool skating. Only this time, you don't have to go in the backyard and drain it first. And designing a bowl is a great exercise in homage and fantasy taken to the extreme. At Mabel Davis, we used real pool coping as part of the bowl. And in Round Rock, we had something called the cradle, which I've never seen at a swimming pool. And it might be the jacuzzi turned up sideways. But from here, things head out to the street, where skaters burned by industry basically start trespassing and vandalizing, and they were de facto criminals. And this is when skateboarding really became a counterculture movement. And it borrowed liberally from the punk rock movement. One of the great things it took from punk rock movement was the DIY do-it-yourself ethic, which led to probably the most famous skate park in the world, the Burnside Project in Portland. A bunch of skaters snuck under this freeway to get out of the rain, and without permission just started pouring concrete. And then they made one obstacle, and another obstacle, and then eventually it was so big the city had to give up and acknowledge that it was an official skate park. We do this in Austin too. And it's where a lot of great new obstacle ideas come from. And these are kept really secret. They're arguably illegal. No one wants to take the alien pod and fill it in like they did the Bastrop Bowl with dirt. Okay, so the creativity of these DIY guys is really totally unbridled. This is a backyard bowl. It's an assembly of ramps called the Banana Farm, and we're really only looking at 1/3 of the total complex here. And really a lot of guys skate this ramp. The Banana Farm is rumored to be a reference to the resulting sausage party that happens in that. But more than just like an incubator for great ideas, DIY actually served to legitimize the skate park as a credible concept and have lured skaters away from the skate industry only mentality. But also because of DIY, design build is still the preferred process for skate park construction. There is such a thing as a prefab skate park, and it's really modular and boring, and I don't like them. Because a prefab skate park will never find an axle during excavation and decide to make a spinning tower out of it, which is now known worldwide as the Newberg volcano. So, back to the 1980s and the street skate movement, which really is a very extreme skate anywhere, anytime kind of a scene, okay? But the documented parts really took part in public plazas like the Embarcadero Plaza shown here in San Francisco. Now, being so public, it got a lot of attention, and getting a lot of attention, the general public was basically able to react to the skateboard counterculture. This is a reaction, and in order it is. Spider-Man is not allowed to skate. No skateboarding while holding roller skates. No Andy McDonald's. And then my favorite, if you have a G in your pocket, a little bit of that DIY elbow Belarus, of course, you can't go skateboarding now. Now, the skateboarding community themselves reacted to this in a really troublesome manner. How do you legitimize a counterculture movement, right? But really at its core, this faction of skateboarding is not a crime meets public backlash turned into the main rationale for public skate parks, and that's the theory that if you give them a legal place to skate, they won't terrorize the general public anymore. But it's a lot more than that, because the skate park has to be engaging enough to the street skater for him to want to skate there. And this means that your design elements have to have a lot of credibility. Well, at Mabel Davis, we cheated. We just copied the big three from the Embarcadero Plaza in California, moved it here. But this is also where a lot of innovation is going in skate park design. This is up north in Canada. It's a skate park. More accurately, it's a skate plaza, and it's designed, built to look just like all the plaza skaters get kicked out of every day. But it also has a secondary purpose of giving them a backdrop for photos that, of all things, don't look like they're in a skate park. And so we are going to do this on 12th and Lamar here in Austin at the House Park. We'll incorporate a lot of what we're talking about here. That is the Ottawa Banks. It's a copy of a real world-famous skate spot. We've even commissioned artists to do a bunch of skatable sculpture in the park. And of course, at the back of the park, there will be a bowl. Right? Because the whole concept is by having all these design elements together, it becomes a real community-building space, attracting all the ages and factions of skateboarding together. And in the same way that Antone's built up the music scene in Austin, House Park will build up the skate scene, and Austin will just be a whole lot weirder for it. Thank you.